Cruise cabin, secrets, 14 habits your steward secretly hates. You think you're being a good cruise passenger, but your cabin steward might be silently counting down the days until you disembark. After more than 25 cruises and countless conversations with crew members, I've learned there are things passengers do that make their job way harder than it needs to be. Some of these habits seem innocent enough, but they're driving your steward absolutely crazy. And here's the thing, most passengers have no idea they're doing it. Today we're uncovering 14 cabin habits that stewards secretly hate, plus a few insider tips that'll make you their favorite passenger instead. Trust me, once you know these secrets, you'll never look at your cruise cabin the same way again. And before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button because we're just getting started with the behind-the-scenes cruise secrets. The bathroom flood zone. Let's start with something that happens in nearly every cabin, multiple times a day. You hop out of the shower, grab a towel, and water goes everywhere. The floor, the counter, sometimes even out into the main cabin area. You figure, hey, housekeeping will take care of it, right? Here's what your steward is really thinking. That soaked bathroom floor isn't just a quick mop job. Water damage on ships is serious business. And when bathrooms stay wet for hours, it creates mold problems, maintenance issues, and safety hazards. Your steward has to dry everything thoroughly, check for standing water, and sometimes even report persistent moisture issues to engineering. The fix is simple. Grab that extra towel and do a quick floor wipe before you leave. It takes 30 seconds and saves your steward from dealing with a swamp every single day. Plus, you won't be slipping on wet tiles when you come back from dinner. The great towel mystery. Speaking of towels, here's one that drives stewards up the wall. You use your towels, then ball them up and shove them in random corners. Under the bed, behind the door, stuffed in the closet. I've even seen people hide wet towels in their luggage because they didn't know what else to do with them. Your steward isn't playing hide and seek. They need to know which towels are dirty so they can replace them with fresh ones. When towels disappear into the Bermuda Triangle of your cabin, housekeeping can't do their job properly. Leave dirty towels in the bathroom or on the bathroom floor where they're easy to spot and replace. And here's a pro tip most passengers don't know. If you're staying in your cabin during cleaning time, just let your steward know which towels need replacing. They'll appreciate the communication, and you'll get fresh towels without the guesswork. The balcony disaster zone. Got a balcony cabin? Your steward dreads cleaning it more than you realize. Not because of the work, but because of what passengers leave out there. Wet swimsuits draped over furniture, empty bottles rolling around, personal items scattered like a hurricane hit. Here's the reality. Balconies get windy, especially when the ship is moving. That means anything not secured becomes a projectile or ends up in the ocean. Your steward has to secure or bring in loose items, and they're constantly worried about liability if something flies off and hits another passenger or damages the ship. One cruise, I watched a passenger's tablet get blown 3 decks down because it was left on a balcony table. The steward ended up filling out incident reports for hours. Do everyone a favor and bring personal items inside when you're not using the balcony. The mysterious Do Not Disturb marathon. The Do Not Disturb sign is supposed to give you privacy when you need it. But some passengers put it up on day 1 and leave it there for the entire cruise. Meanwhile, your steward is standing in the hallway with fresh towels, wondering if you're ever coming out. This creates a real problem. Stewards have quotas and schedules. When they can't access cabins for days at a time, it throws off their entire workflow. Plus, skipping cleaning for multiple days means your cabin gets progressively more unpleasant, and when they finally do get in, it requires way more work to get things back to standard. Use the sign when you genuinely need privacy, but flip it to Make Up Room when you head out for meals or excursions. Your steward will get their work done, and you'll come back to a fresh cabin every day. The Minibar confusion game. Even seasoned cruisers get this wrong. You grab a soda from the minibar, drink it, then carefully place the empty bottle back exactly where you found it. You think you're being helpful by showing what you consumed. Your steward thinks you're trying to avoid charges. Minibar inventory is tracked electronically on most ships. When items are removed, sensors register the change immediately. Putting empty containers back confuses the system and creates extra work for your steward, who has to manually verify what was actually consumed versus what the system shows. If you use something from the minibar, just leave the empty container somewhere obvious, like on the desk or bathroom counter. Don't try to recreate the original display. Your steward will remove the empties and the charges will process normally. The Bedfort Engineering Project. Kids love building forts with cruise cabin bedding. Parents think it's harmless fun. Stewards see it as a daily puzzle they didn't sign up for solving. Sheets twisted into knots, pillows shoved in impossible places, comforters draped over furniture like indoor camping. The problem isn't just the extra time needed to untangle everything. It's that bedding gets stretched, torn, or damaged when it's used for construction projects. Replacing damaged linens creates costs and inventory issues that affect the entire ship. Let the kids build forts with the couch cushions or extra blankets you brought from home. The bed linens need to stay functional for everyone's comfort. The luggage explosion phenomenon. I get it, cruise cabins are small, and it's tempting to use every available surface for storage. But when your steward walks into a cabin that looks like a clothing store exploded, they can't effectively clean or restock anything. Your steward needs clear access to surfaces, floors, and furniture to do their job. When every chair has clothes draped over it and the floor is covered with shoes and bags, basic cleaning becomes impossible. They end up moving your belongings, cleaning around them, then trying to put everything back exactly how they found it. The solution is simple. Pick one area for your explosion zone, maybe the couch or a corner of the room, and keep the rest relatively clear. Your steward can work efficiently, and you won't come back to find your stuff rearranged in ways that make no sense. The ice bucket, archaeological site. Here's one I never thought about until a steward pointed it out. Passengers use ice buckets for everything except ice. Dirty dishes, wet swimsuits, random trash, even laundry. Then they forget about it and leave this mystery container for housekeeping to deal with. Ice buckets are meant for ice and beverages, and they need to be cleaned and sanitized regularly. When they're repurposed as general containers, especially for dirty items, it creates extra sanitization work, and sometimes means the bucket is out of commission until it can be properly cleaned. If you need extra storage containers, ask your steward. Most ships have additional amenities available, or they can suggest alternatives that won't create hygiene issues. The electrical Frankenstein setup. Modern cruisers travel with more devices than a Best Buy clearance sale. Phones, tablets, cameras, portable chargers, speakers, you name it. The problem comes when passengers create elaborate charging stations using every adapter and cord they packed, turning the cabin into a fire marshal's nightmare. Your steward has to work around these setups without accidentally unplugging crucial devices or disturbing your charging arrangement. But they also have to ensure everything meets safety standards and doesn't create fire hazards. When charging cables are draped across walkways or plugged into daisy-chained adapters, it creates liability concerns. Set up your charging station in one designated area, preferably near the desk where it won't interfere with cleaning. And remember, cruise cabins have limited electrical capacity, so don't overload the system. Mysterious late-night room service. Aftermath. Room service seems like a luxury until you see it from your steward's perspective. You order dinner to your cabin, enjoy your meal, then leave the tray and dishes sitting out until morning, sometimes longer if you forget about them. Food residue attracts pests, and dirty dishes start smelling pretty quickly in a small, enclosed space. Your steward has to deal with the odors, clean up any spills or crumbs, and coordinate with room service to collect the dishes. Meanwhile, that fancy tray is taking up space in your already compact cabin. When you're done with room service, call to have the tray collected or put it outside your door. Most cruise lines have specific protocols for this, and your steward will appreciate not having to play detective with your leftover food. The Souvenir storage warehouse. Every port brings new treasures, and by mid-cruise, some cabins look like duty-free shops exploded. Bottles of rum, carved masks, shell collections, t-shirts, and everything else passengers have accumulated during their adventure. The issue isn't that you're buying souvenirs. That's what cruising is all about. The problem comes when your growing collection takes over surfaces your steward needs to access for cleaning. bathroom counters covered with bottles, beds piled with shopping bags, and floors that become obstacle courses. Designate one area of your cabin as Souvenir Central, maybe a corner or the area under the desk. Keep your treasures contained so your steward can still do their job effectively. The climate control weather wars. This one's subtle but drives stewards crazy. You crank the air conditioning to Arctic levels, then leave wet towels and damp clothes scattered around the room. The result is a cabin that feels like a swamp but registers as properly cooled. Excessive humidity in cold rooms creates condensation problems that can damage furniture, electronics, and the cabin itself. Your steward has to monitor and adjust for these conditions, and sometimes report potential moisture damage to maintenance. If you like it cold, that's fine. Just make sure wet items are properly hung up or placed in the bathroom where humidity is expected and ventilation is designed to handle it. The bathroom counter science experiment. Personal care routines on cruises can get elaborate, especially when you're dressing up for formal nights. But when bathroom counters become chemistry labs with dozens of bottles, tubes, and containers, your steward can't effectively clean the surfaces. Moving all your personal items to clean underneath takes significant time, and there's always the risk of accidentally mixing up or misplacing something important. Plus, some personal care products can stain surfaces or create residues that require special cleaning. Keep your daily essentials accessible, but store the rest in your luggage or bathroom drawer. Your steward can clean properly, and you won't risk losing that expensive face cream in the shuffle. The artistic towel animal pressure. Here's one that surprised me. Passengers often feel bad when they mess up those cute towel animals, so they try to recreate them or leave notes apologizing for ruining the display. Your steward appreciates the consideration, but it actually creates more work. Towel animals are meant to be temporary art that gets enjoyed and then used as regular towels. When passengers try to preserve them or apologize for using them, it puts pressure on stewards to constantly create new displays, even when they're behind schedule. Enjoy the towel animals, take your photos, then use the towels normally. That's exactly what they're intended for, and your steward will be happy to create new ones when time permits. The Communication Blackout. Last but definitely not least, the habit that stewards hate most is complete communication silence. You never acknowledge their work, never respond to their greetings, and never provide any feedback about your preferences. Stewards are people doing a tough job, often far from home for months at a time. A simple thank you, or good morning, makes their day significantly better. And when you communicate your preferences, like whether you prefer your cabin cleaned early or late, it helps them provide better service. You don't need to become best friends with your steward, but basic courtesy and communication make the working relationship better for everyone involved. The bottom line. Here's what I've learned after years of cruising and talking with crew members. Your cabin steward isn't judging your vacation habits or trying to make your life difficult. They're professional hospitality workers trying to do their job efficiently while making sure you have a great experience. Most of these hated habits come from passengers simply not understanding how cruise operations work. When you know what makes their job easier, you can adjust your habits without sacrificing any of your vacation enjoyment. In fact, you'll probably enjoy your cruise more when your cabin is consistently clean and your steward can focus on providing great service instead of solving daily puzzles. Remember, these folks work incredibly hard to make your vacation special. A little consideration goes a long way, and you might just find yourself getting those extra touches that make cruising truly memorable. So, next time you're in your cruise cabin, think like a steward for just a moment. Is this going to make their job easier or harder? Most of the time, the solution is simple and takes just seconds of extra effort. What's the most considerate thing a passenger has ever done for you during a cruise? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more insider cruise secrets that'll make your next vacation even better. Until next time, happy cruising!